everyone. My name is Hannah Bothner, and I am the short film program director for Tallgrass Film Festival. Today, I am here with Florian Thess from Florence, director of the film Florence, I should say. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Of course, my pleasure.
Um, First of all, I wanted to ask you what drew you to direct this film?
Well, it's an original idea of mine. The way I usually work is I have my original ideas, then I kind of plot it a bit out, think about the message that I want to get across, and then I get together with a writer, and then the writer does all the other bits and pieces. And it's a personal story, weirdly enough, because obviously that whole film is a metaphor for a mother-daughter relationship, and so the personal aspect from myself would be the father-son relationship,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's the reason.
Uh, the Where did the idea specifically come for this like sci-fi therapy AI come from?
I like sci-fi in general. I think it's just a very interesting genre, especially Black Mirror, which is not sci-fi in the sense that you have spacecrafts flying around or like Star Wars. I like that it's the world it's set in. It feels normal. It feels contemporary. Just with a bit of technical enhancement, and that's kind of the sci-fi that I'm really interested in. Also because I studied electronic engineering for a while in Munich. So I'm drawn towards technical things and technology and where they go and what could happen with them. And then essentially Florence, I just found the idea of creator versus creation interesting, which is obviously present in Florence with the relationship between Jess and Florence, where Jess is the creator, Florence the creation, which is also an interesting dynamic in terms of father-daughter or father-son or mother-daughter relationship, because that's kind of similar to an extent. But yeah, then I wanted to tell it as a sci-fi because I thought it makes it a more interesting kind of metaphor as opposed to just mother-daughter.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you decide on the what what it would look like when we see Florence's view into the world? What was the decision making process there?
Funnily enough, I had a chat with a blog with my VFX artist talking about exactly that.
Uh-huh.
And we've gone through many iterations of kind of design and what it should look like and functionality, what elements on the HUD and whatnot. One of the very early drafts was kind of fighter jet HUDs, and kind
Oh,
of
cool.
what they look like and how they feel. Um, but yeah, we didn't want to make it too cluttered because especially with VFX, there's a trend that you put in a lot of VFX because it looks cool, but then at the end of the day, it kind of takes away from the actress,
Mm.
which you don't want. Like the performance is still the most kind of interesting and important element, what should be on screen.
Right.
So we've been trying to kind of keep it quite minimal and in terms of color palette fitting to the rest of the film. So quite white and elegant in that sense. And that's kind
Absolutely.
of that, yeah.
So I think that Florence, like the actress who plays Florence, she really walks like that really fine line between, almost being human and then definitely being this AI that doesn't fully understand the world yet. How did you achieve that through direction? Was there anything special that you showed your actress or talked to her about?
So that's interesting. I'm glad that you asked that. Because I mean, the first kind of sci-fi where you had a female AI was, I would say, Metropolis from 1927 by Fritz Lang. And the trend since then, also still now, is to portray AI robots, especially female AI robots, just like objects.
Mm-hmm.
Also, how they move, how they react to things, etc., etc., etc. And I didn't want to portray Florence as an object per se, because then it's you can't connect to an object as much as you can do to a human. It's just not that possible. So most of it kind of really came from her when she asked me if I wanted her to play it like a robot, and I said no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Play it kind of as if you would with a when you were playing a normal character, like an actual person, but just try to find a balance between hiding impulsive emotions, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what brings it to, I think, the fine line you mentioned between it's a robot, but it doesn't quite like move robotically like we've been used to seeing it on screen for the past 100 years. But it's still a robot, but I can still see emotions, and I think that was she did a great job kind of doing that part.
Absolutely. What are you most proud of? What about the film are you most proud of?
I'm tempted to say the music.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about it.
Which, well, I have a great composer. I'm very happy to work with him, and we just we come from the same country, and we kind of get each other without speaking too much, which is great.
Awesome.
And I've always feel like his soundscape and soundtracks elevate the movie on a different level, so that I'm very happy with. And well, besides that, the performances and kind of the visual coherency, I would say. Because yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it has a very cool look. How did you decide on the exact you talked a little bit about making it look a bit more contemporary for sure, but it almost has like a very bright and then often almost sometimes like a sterile look, if that makes sense. How did you decide on how the film would look?
Well, a few of my bigger influences were Black Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Many episodes of Black Mirror, which kind of would play in similar times as Florence does. Not hard to pinpoint with that, but
yeah.
There was one influence, and Orphan Black as well. Was a Netflix show, which I liked quite a bit, and Ex Machina to an extent, but then also not too much, because I didn't want to make a short film that is Ex Machina as a short film.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
And besides that, so then I kind of had a rough idea of kind of what I want to look like. White-ish, because it looks futuristic and modern, but not too like ahead of the future. It's kind of relatable for us if we watch it, I guess. And then finding locations is always a bit tricky. So then I found this location actually 2 days before we started shooting.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so there was a lot of kind of working what we had given on the day, because we didn't really have much time to pre-plan it. But those shots when she is in the kind of in the room with the mirror, and in the room where she gets fixed by Jess with the big window in the background, I really liked that, because you see a lot of trees in the background and green and life itself, and then it's juxtaposed with Florence in this sterile, white, lifeless environment.
Yeah.
And kind of reflects her struggle of wanting to be alive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I thought that was a nice lucky circumstance that we had this house, and yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us today. One last question for you. What are you working on next? What can we expect from you next? Do you have a anywhere that you want to point people towards to see your future work or past work?
Yeah, sure. So I'm working on a few things at the moment. It's quite different, actually.
Yeah.
So one is a short horror, which is again kind of dysfunctional mother-daughter relationship. Then the other one is a spy drama or spy thriller,
Awesome.
which mainly talks about friendship. I'm
Mm.
kind of trying to remove the like cool spy bit, but focus more on the friendship part. And then the other one is a short animation,
Mm.
which tells the story of a stuffed animal which gets abandoned from home.
Oh, wow.
So that's very different as well.
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's pretty much it at the moment. And yes, if you can follow me on Instagram, that'd be great. There, I put all my stuff up there. Yeah, that's
What's
all.
your Instagram?
Flow.Thess.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It was really great to talk to you about your film. And thank you all out there for tuning in and for supporting Tallgrass.
Thank you.